Okay, so it's like something slightly different. I've been messing around with the AI stuff, and basically I'm using stable diffusion using the ComfyUI um, implementation. So it's running in a browser, and I've installed the Krita AI plugin, and I'm doing the room that my that I grew up, my bedroom when I was a kid, and it's working remarkably well. So you can see there the prompt. I don't know, maybe I'll have to zoom in or something. Um, Putting the prompt, running it live, and let's say this back wall here is too light, so I'm just gonna color pick. I'm just working live on the thing and say, let's say make that darker. Okay, I'm not doing a very good job. I'm just using a mouse actually. I'm having issues with my pen, and you can see how it's doing an amazing job. It's quite incredible. You just need to tidy up things a little bit, and then it does a little bit more work on it as it were, and make it even darker. It just cleans everything up for you. So, and I've got it turned down a bit on the so it's not completely mental. I mean, if you crank it up so it's really high, it starts doing just completely just goes off in its own little world. So you have to kind of find a balance. But I've been really impressed. It's like oh, this is quite helpful for cleaning up a messy drawing. With it turned down, and then if you can put in the prompts, I can see that it's still struggling with the lines. So let's do a line. Um, and let's turn the size down. Um, I mean, I know there's obviously there's the whole thing of like it's using the lion data set or whatever your some civid AI model or something that's been trained on whatever, and that hasn't been people's people artists haven't been asked if for permission if it's okay to. So there is the whole kind of ethical issue. I'm not sort of thing, and but I'm just like drawing with the mouse badly. To try and see if we can tidy up. Let's just get the But yeah, it's kind of it's interesting to play around with, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. So it's quite a useful aid um, if you want to kind of use it as a sort of like like in Visual Studio as a sort of co-pilot, as a sort of mate to help out. So that's quite just because it's a bit of a force multiplier in terms of productivity, right? So let's just make this a bit. Oops, I messed all that up. But you'll see it's doing it all live. Um, because obviously Adobe want you to shell out money with their tokens or whatever their token system. Um, and I think maybe slightly less polished, but it's still pretty good and for free. Open source and all the rest of it. And let's sort out this edge here. It just just does a really good job on all the turns my blotchy gradients into nice smooth gradients. So that's kind of nice, isn't it? Um, but yeah, I'm I'm quite surprised how well it works for this kind of thing, where it's like, oh, do a little rough sketch of what I remember my room being like, and let's get it to make it look a bit better, do a better sort of. I mean, that's what the AI stuff is good at, I think, is in terms of is sort of just adding a little bit of finish to like a rough thing, and then you might need to like uh, because it doesn't really have any intent, does it? So if you this is the cool thing about using it in Krita is I'm just painting what I think tonal values will work, and then it obviously I've done a bit of a crap job, and it just seems to improve it a bit. In a weird kind of way, it reminds me a bit like Flash, where you would say, you draw a line and you say, oh, can you smooth that line? And then instantly just makes your line work look that much more polished and you haven't really done anything. Um, so it's kind of cool. I mean, I guess it's sort of, maybe it's not going to work in every use case, and I'm being quite selective. Um, but it has this whole thing called, if you know anything about Stable Diffusion, you can use ControlNet, although I haven't got that set up to work, where there are particular models that are trained for things like depth maps or line work, and so if you can actually add that as like a stack of different models trained on different types of images. I mean, there's stuff phenomenal. Let me just show you. I haven't got them installed, but there's a number here. You see, there's like yeah, image scribble, and you have to have them installed. And there's even one for like pose, where you have like this sort of almost like sort of motion capture type pose thing. Segments, that's like sort of different. If you have like, you can have different colors for different objects. It's quite crazy how good it's got. I'm just going to stick with the image because that's the only one I'm using at the moment. Or rather remove it altogether. Um, but there's a sort of simple installation which I probably would recommend for beginners. But because I use ControlNet, because with ControlNet you can do all sorts of things like animating frames and I mean, with ComfyUI, there's a lot more power there. So I went with a slightly more convoluted install, but there is a simple install. And if you're interested in this sort of thing, just want to dip your toe in the water, I would highly recommend just using the default install, play around with stuff, and you'll see how useful it can be. So anyway, let's get rid of that. Now is that going to update for us? Okay, so back to using just the yeah. So back to using the thing. So you can see it's already done. I'm quite impressed, to be honest, and just because I can see how useful this can be. Just if you do like a scrappy drawing and you just want to think, oh, I just want to tidy it up a bit, and you just tidy it up a bit, and then you get the AI to tidy it up even more. So you just think, oh, what's not working? So let's try and make this line a bit more, you know, maybe choose that color or something, that tone. Um, so this is like a chest of drawers or something. Anyway, that's it. Yeah, I think it's kind of yeah. I mean, I know there's all the kind of ethical issues in terms of what yeah, the training data and all that rest of the stuff, but it's not going to go away. This thing, right? Um, so I think it's useful worth exploring. Just to chuck it in. And the cool thing about Stable Diffusion over things like Midjourney and all the others is that it's free and it can do video. It's just they all have their I guess what's the word they're all sort of have their strengths and weaknesses. And in terms of openness, doing the whole kind of open source thing, uh, you know uh, Stable Diffusion kind of rules the roost there. But it sort of lags behind in certain features, like the video stuff. It can do video, but it doesn't seem to do a very good job of it in comparison to in comparison to other things like Runway ML and Pika Studios or whatever it is, Pika thing. But anyway, I just thought I'd show this because it's kind of like I was like, you can see the two. Yeah, you can see how it's just. I mean, I'm just thinking, oh, that's not really working. Maybe I paint over. It sort of tells you, you kind of points you where you need to fix, and then it will fix it. You see, and it does all nice blending. It just sort of cleans everything up for you, which is kind of like handy if you're lazy. um, but yeah, okay, that's my little rant over.